4 of those since losing to Antoine Smith. That was almost 2 years ago. As we take a look now at the tail of the tape. Both these fighters 28 years old. Mikhaylenko with a slight height advantage, but the reach advantage favors Cruz. And Cruz comes in with 15 knockouts in 20 wins. No standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the ref can stop the fight. Fighter can't be saved by the bell in any round. And the fight is official after 4 rounds. Now let's officially meet them. And here's Steve Mettman.
And we are all set for 10 rounds in the welterweight division. This contest is presented by Main Events, Peltz Boxing, BAM Boxing, Garmentino Promotions, in association with the Sands Casino Resort in Bethlehem, and Coors Light. Introducing first, he is in the corner to my right, the blue corner, wearing the orange trunks with the black trim. Weighing in at 153 pounds, a record of 20 wins, only 4 losses, 15 wins by way of knockout. He is from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Ronald Cruz. His opponent is across the ring. He is in the red corner. He's wearing the all-white trunks, weighing in 152 1/2 pounds. He is undefeated with a record of 17 wins, 6 wins by knockout. He comes to us this evening from Russia. Please welcome Dmitry Mikhaylenko. The officials assigned Bernard Bruni, Tom Schreck, Ronald McNair. I now turn it over to the man in charge of the action when the bell rings, Steve Smoger.
Interpreter. Where's the interpreter?
Right here.
All right. You received your instructions, you through the interpreter?
Yes.
I don't have to repeat them. Touch gloves, God bless you both. Touch gloves, God bless you both. Go.
This has turned into a junior middleweight fight for these 2 boxers. Started to be a welterweight fight. They came in junior middleweight fight it is now. As you look at Ronald Cruz and Dmitry Mikhaylenko. Cruz in the orange and black. Round 1 scheduled for 10.
It's going to be very interesting, Kenny. Cruz has got an entirely new team, new strength and conditioning coach, new trainer with Billy Briscoe now. Been training in Philadelphia a lot, he says now, and it's helped him to be close to that type of atmosphere instead of hanging out here in Bethlehem and training at home.
Billy said he went to that other big city in Pennsylvania, from Bethlehem to Philadelphia.
Punch, step.
And they talked about Cruz coming in here working on angles and cutting off the ring. Things that they don't feel he's done well in his last 7 fights. He has lost 4 of those by way of decision, including 2 in a row.
Cruz is strong, Kenny. He's a very good body puncher. The one mistake he's consistently made, after he's offensive, he doesn't make a defensive move. He sits right in front of his opponent, and that's how he's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. Good body work inside by Mikhaylenko.
And as you would imagine from Mikhaylenko, coming from Russia, he has a slew of amateur fights. He said he had between 280, 290 wins, something in that ballpark, of the more than 300 amateur fights.
It's irrelevant at that point whether it's 280 or 290. He's got a lot of experience, and you can see that in the first round. You see he's very calm, he's composed. He's kind of stepping right to Ronald Cruz, which is going into Ronald Cruz's wheelhouse, but he's having success in there. He's got the shorter punches, and he's not forgetting to work the body of Cruz, which is setting up the headshots. You see Cruz coming back here. He's not the type that's going to match you necessarily punch for punch, but he can hit you with that one shot, change the complexion of the fight. He's a very tough and gritty kid, and he's normally going to be around for the long haul, the full 10 rounds. So Mikhaylenko's going to have a very tough task in front of him tonight.
Mikhaylenko also used to going the distance. 11 times he has won by decision.
That's a beautiful shot we saw a second ago from Mikhaylenko. He countered a slow pushing jab of Cruz with a nice straight right hand. Beautiful timing. That's not normally a move you see from a guy who looks to get inside, but he, you know, it was almost a pull counter, a la Floyd Mayweather, that type of move, very nice and a good shot. Shows the fundamentals of Mikhaylenko.
Heavyweights, Mansour and Cassie, main event coming up next.
I'm going to be very interested to see what the punch output was from both guys after this first round. Mikhaylenko is shooting a lot of punches, beautiful body shots, digging both sides there, and just, you know, really showing that he's got a lot of fundamentals.
Cruz missing with the overhand right. Mikhaylenko fires in a couple of jabs.
Very interesting. He saw Cruz make a defensive move afterwards. Mikhaylenko had advantage of the first round, but Cruz had his moments, Kenny.
We have a special guest commentator joining us when we come back for round 2. The two-time cruiserweight champ, now ranked in the top 10 in the world in heavyweights. Steve Cunningham after that big win against Amir Mansour. And look at him. Here he is joining us again. He'll be with us for the rest of the night. Steve, good to see you again.
Great to be back.
And I want to ask you the one thing that people have asked about, the touching story of your daughter, Kennedy. How's Precious Kennedy doing at this moment?
Oh, man, listen, after I fought, she said, now I'm ready for my surgery. So she's ready.
So still awaiting the heart transplant surgery?
Yep, yes, we're waiting.
All right, thoughts and prayers for that. We'll talk more about fighting, including Amir Mansour, who is going to be in the main event. Steve knows him well. Meanwhile, back to action here. Junior middleweights, round 2 scheduled for 10. Ronald Cruz, the hometown hero in the orange and black. Dmitry Mikhaylenko from Russia, his second fight in the U.S. He is 17-0.
Kenny, it's a beautiful, beautiful double jab, straight right hand that Mikhaylenko's got going for him. I didn't know he had the type of hand speed. He looked a bit more robotic in some of the film I'd seen on him. But seeing him live, and some fighters are like this, he's actually faster than what he looks like on tape, and he's got some beautiful combinations. Very impressive so far.
You know, Mikhaylenko was impressive in defeating Escu Powell. That was in his U.S. debut. That was part of the undercard where Sergey Kovalov successfully defended his title against Blake Caparello. So he comes from that same camp and has that same feel about him. Kenny Rice, PJ Floyd, Chris Mannix, and now Steve Cunningham with us. Glad you're with us on Fight Night.
Man, I'm glad to be here, man. This fight is very, very entertaining. Cruz is showing me that he's very comfortable on the inside. He's landing good shots in here. It's pretty, he's pretty intense tonight.
Is he fighting like a Philadelphia guy?
He's got a little bit of that flow with him right now.
Let's check in with Chris.
Billy, your first fight with Ronald. What do you want to see from him out there?
I'm trying to get him to work on going back to the body and run decoy shots to set the shots up. You know, it's our first fight together. We've only been a few weeks, couple months in camp, but I like what I see.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks, Chris. We first met Billy Briscoe on our first fight night in Philadelphia 3 years ago with Gabe Rosado. He was in the corner. And Billy has talked about those angles, cutting off the ring, all the things he wants to see improvement from Ronald Cruz, because as we heard Cruz talk with Chris before this fight, he doesn't want to be that opponent. He still feels that he can be a guy that can be reckoned with down the road.
Absolutely. I mean, he's lost to top opposition. Errol Spence, Kermit Cintron, former two-time world champion Errol Spence, probably one of the brightest prospects from the 2012 Olympic team. And you know what, Kenny? I don't know if this is necessarily where Mikhaylenko wants to fight this fight, in Ronald Cruz's wheelhouse. You know, Cruz, he's the type of guy, you can beat him, you can beat him, you can beat him, and then he can come back on you in the end of the fight. Those body punches all of a sudden add up, and I think this is the wrong strategy for Mikhaylenko, even if he's having his moments right now.
Mikhaylenko landing a lot of punches. Cruz seems to be very poised, though.
Yeah, he's looking like he's in his living room and playing a video game right now. He's looking very poised, very comfortable. Look at that slip. He's right there on the inside, just ready to go back to work.
And this is not necessarily a round that Cruz won, but nice right hand by Ronald Cruz there. Beautiful shot.
Nice shot by Cruz, waning seconds of round 2.
This is a beautiful round. You're doing what you got to do. You got to bang this guy. You got to back him up. You hear me?
Beautiful round, baby. Come on. You see he's not coming out hard because
he's not coming out hard because you got him.
You got his power. You got it now, baby.
You got this guy, champ.
This is you, baby. Come on. You got to press the action.
That is Billy Briscoe, the well-respected trainer out of Philadelphia that's now working with Ronald Cruz for the first time. And live action again here in round 3. Cruz in the orange and black. Dmitry Mikhaylenko coming in 17-0, his second fight in the U.S.
The output from Mikhaylenko may hurt Cruz down the stretch. You know, Cruz needs to throw more punches, needs to be a little more active. Mikhaylenko's going to work. They call him the mechanic.
Look at that, almost dead even according to CompuBox in that last round. And some good shots near the end of that round by Cruz.
A very interesting thing we're seeing out of Cruz this time. You're seeing one nice shot by Mikhaylenko.
Nice shot by Mikhaylenko. Maybe his best power punch so far.
Definitely a good shot. Good left hook by Mikhaylenko, setting it up with combinations, distracting Cruz with other punches, looking to land his power shots. But Cruz has got that left hand down a little bit. He's turning his shoulders, which in turn puts him in better position to land combinations like that right there. When he's squared up and he's right on the guy's chest, he can't punch like he is now, and he's just in a lot better position. He looks more comfortable, even though he's getting hit with some shots by Mikhaylenko right now. Nice right uppercut to the body there.
Check in with Chris.
Guys, fighters are known for training in tough conditions, well, except for Steve Cunningham, but they don't get much tougher than the home base of Dmitry Mikhaylenko. Mikhaylenko spent 8 years living in Siberia, where he said temperatures dipped to a balmy minus 45 degrees. Mikhaylenko went there for a reason, though. He left his family so he could attend an oil and gas school and study engineering in that area. And guys, I don't have the numbers to back this up, but between Lepikin and Mikhaylenko, this has to be the most educated card of the year.
Indeed it does. And we saw Lepikin earn another degree in the ring tonight, going undefeated, winning against Junior earlier.
Well, Mikhaylenko better start to use his degree in there with Ronald Cruz, because he's starting to get hit with a lot of body shots on the inside, Kenny. And like I said, you don't want to go in the wheelhouse of Ronald Cruz. He's a natural. I'm not a prejudice guy. The Latino in him is coming out, and he's landing that left hook to the body very nicely. He's having a lot of success with it. Good natural punch for him, and that's going to pay off down the stretch.
Just about dead even in total punches landed in this round. Cruz very aggressive here in round 3.
Good
and
combination.
Mikhaylenko comes right back with the combo. So Steve Cunningham, I want to ask you, because with all kidding aside, they were talking about how they had to get him ready for Philadelphia kind of style of fighting. Is he doing that right now?
Yeah, he's doing it. He's doing it. He's in there. He's in the trenches, and he's going to work. That's Philly.
Final seconds, round 3, taking down. Good round for Ronald Cruz. Here before the hometown crowd in Bethlehem. And not far away is the town of Easton and the Easton Assassin, the Hall of Fame champ, Larry Holmes. We'll hear from him when we come back.
Welcome back to Fight Night. Well, they don't get much bigger in this area than one Larry Holmes, the former heavyweight champion. Larry, not exactly your type of fight out there. A lot of inside fighting. What are you seeing?
Well, I think the bigger guy should stay on the outside and throw the jabs. You know, I'm kind of surprised with Cruz, because he's not really trying hard or going for the knockout. I think if he go for the knockout, I think he'd get it, but he's just throwing punches, taking it easy.
We've got a heavyweight fight coming up next. Amir Mansour, we've seen him on this network before. What do you want to see him doing tonight?
Well, I seen Amir, and I helped him out a little bit, showed him what to do, some things. I think he's going to be all right. He's a strong kid. He's determined. Hey, listen, they took 8 years away from him. He said he's coming back to get it in the ring.
You said you worked with him. What were your lessons for Amir during your training?
With the jabs, always with the jabs. That's the most important punch to throw in a fight today. But he's a little southpaw, so he had to throw the right jab, you know what I mean? And it's kind of hard for me to tell him or to show him how to do it, but I think he got it down pretty good. He's strong, and he's going to be ready inside.
Jab, that's a big surprise coming from you, Larry.
Well, you know what? That's why the Holmes hammer, that's what it takes.
Thanks, Larry. Kenny?
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Larry. As back to action here, Cruz and Mikhaylenko still going at it in round 4, scheduled for 10. If you're building the perfect beast of a boxer, I guess you always take the Larry Holmes jab, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, you do. You must.
Larry Holmes would win fights on his left jab and left jab alone. He didn't even need anything else, but people forget. He had a very hard right hand. He had quick hands. He would double up that jab, and people were scared and timid to even come inside, because it wasn't just a fluffing jab. He really got a lot of leverage on that punch, and he did a lot of damage with it. So I don't think he gets enough credit for that punch sometimes, because not only was it fast, but it was a hard punch, and it discouraged his opponents from coming in because of the power on it.
The former heavyweight champ, one of the all-time greats, and one of the most popular champions as well, and certainly revered and loved here throughout this Lehigh Valley. Ronald Cruz here at home in Bethlehem. He and Mikhaylenko going right at it.
And we neglected to mention a lot of the great body shots that Ronald Cruz landed in the beginning of this 4th round. He did a lot of really good work, landed a nice overhand right a second ago, and I think these punches are finally starting to take a toll on Mikhaylenko. Mikhaylenko winning the early rounds a little bit, but Cruz with timing is overcoming the speed of Mikhaylenko and positioning.
Nice combo once again by Cruz.
Yeah,
he has Mikhaylenko befuddled.
Cruz's timing is impeccable with that overhand right.
And we see something very interesting. You see him shoot an overhand right and slip under. A left hook and slip under. He's never done that before, Kenny. And that's what's had him on the wrong end of so many of these close decisions on these fights that he possibly could have won if he was a bit more defensively responsible.
Cruz landing more punches, and especially power punches in this round. And that's one of the things that Cruz said. I went to Philadelphia. I'm based here, but I really needed to go against competition. I need to spar against good guys, better guys. Get ready for fights like this. He certainly looks like it's paying off here in this 4th round.
I want to see the number of body punches, Kenny, because even though he might not be winning all these rounds as far as landing more punches, he is not winning the battle, but he could be winning the war with all these body punches.
Strong round for Ronald Cruz, and the crowd here loves it.
This is your fight, Ronald.
All right, Ronald, look.
This is your fight.
I'm going to keep it real with you because you're my man. This is his house, right? You was from here, but this is his house. They're going to give him the decision. So we're not going to go for the decision. Now it's time for you to back him up like we talked about in the gym. This is the time we back him up and we beat him up to the body and we get him out of there. You got to use that overhand right as a throwaway shot. The overhand right throwaway shot is going to put you in perfect position to rip them shots underneath.
The words of trainer Billy Briscoe, working for the first time with Ronald Cruz and working well, it would appear. Cruz in that last round, he in the orange and gold and black, landing 43 to 39 in punches against Mikhaylenko. That's the first time he has outpunched the Russian in this fight.
And if you look at that 108 punches thrown in that 4th round, Kenny, that's an incredible, that's a Livingstone Bramble type of pace right there. That's absolutely crazy to shoot that many punches in a round. But one thing Billy Briscoe said, use that overhand right as a throwaway shot. Meaning, it doesn't matter if it really lands or not, but it's going to put you in position to land those body shots underneath. That's what Ronald Cruz is doing. That's why he was so successful in that last round. But you see right there, he's landing the overhand right even when he shoots it. But Billy wants him to rip that left hook afterwards, get into the body of the Russian because it's starting to wear him down.
Let's check in with Chris.
Guys, simple message in Mikhaylenko's corner after that last round. Dance. They don't want Mikhaylenko standing and fighting on the inside. They want him to move around the ring, and they said emphatically, don't stop throwing punches.
You wonder how much dancing he can do. The style of the Russians generally not that way.
Sometimes the Russians, Kenny, from the amateurs, they come back, they know how to move really well. You know, some of them are extremely, extremely good on their feet, and then you got others like Mikhaylenko that just want to go in there and find out how tough you are. You know, Mikhaylenko's having a good round so far in round 5, but like I said, in a battle of attrition, and in a war, not a battle, this is not where he wants to be with Ronald Cruz. This is the only chance Ronald Cruz has to win.
And also, a corner's not going to ask their fighter to do something they know he can't do. You know, they know Mikhaylenko can throw punches in bunches and continue to throw them, and he's doing that.
I think he needs to mix up the timing of some of his punches. He needs to taunt and feint a little more because I think Ronald Cruz has started to time him very well. And I think if Mikhaylenko would stay on the outside and use his jab and mix up his timing and his speed, he can have more success because Cruz is getting his timing down right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Coming up next, the heavyweights. Amir Mansour coming off his first career loss to Steve Cunningham, trying to bounce back against Fred Cassie. Two guys with big punches in the main event coming up next. Meanwhile, we have reached the halfway point in this fight between junior middleweights. It is a good one here in Bethlehem.
Right when it seemed like Ronald Cruz was starting to seize momentum of this fight, in round 5, Mikhaylenko comes back and has a very good round. Landed a beautiful straight right hand, counter punch on Ronald Cruz. Good work from him and just great positioning on those punches, Kenny. Able to stay in position and make Ronald Cruz make him pay whenever he misses.
And as you said, Mikhaylenko, with all that experience as an amateur and 17-0 as a pro, it paid off in that round. As we go into the 6th round, moving down the second half of this fight, you see the punches through the fight so far. Mikhaylenko has landed 185 to 151. Average punches per round now, 107 for Mikhaylenko, 86 for Cruz. The average for a junior middleweight is 58.5. So both these guys with volumes of punches, and they haven't slowed down in this fight, Steve.
Man, I mean, Mikhaylenko's like a machine. You know, they turned him on and he's going. You know, Ronald Cruz is responding to these shots and going to work. I'd just like to see a little more head movement from Cruz, you know.
Let's check in with Chris.
Billy, what do you think of the pace of this fight?
You know, this Russian kid's no joke. I mean, he puts a lot of pressure on, and he's a volume puncher. He ain't the biggest puncher in the world, but he lets his hands go.
You told Ronald after that last round, you're not going to win a decision. Round 6, why do you already think that?
Well, we knew we wasn't going to win a decision going in here. They bung him in for the sacrificial lamb. You know what I mean? They're on a 2-fight losing streak, and he's on the tail end of his career. So they figured they'd get him, but they didn't figure they were going to get this Ronald. I mean, if he wins, he's going to go home knowing he was in the fight.
Thanks, Billy.
And a nice right by Mikhaylenko in there. The always very candid Billy Briscoe talking with Chris.
I feel like Billy's in the ring himself. He looked uncomfortable over in that corner, didn't he, Kenny? He looked like he just came out of round 6 with Mikhaylenko.
Well, when we first saw him with Gabe Rosado, remember 3 years ago, that's the same way, the same intensity. And talking with our friend, the Hall of Fame trainer, Freddie Roach, Billy spent a little time out there with him. He said he's like a sponge. You know, he's always asking questions, talking boxing history, and incorporating it with his fighters.
That's good stuff. You see Gabe Rosado, Ronald Cruz, kind of cut from a similar type of cloth. You know, they both come to fight. Gabe Rosado, very compact, very good all-around fighter. Ronald Cruz is starting to adapt some of those things that Billy Briscoe's taught him in the last 2 months, and I'm really surprised at how fast he's picked it up because he looks like a different fighter, even though he still might be down on the scorecards.
And Cruz landing more power punches than Mikhaylenko here in this round.
I mean, you take a guy like Cruz who wants to learn, who wants to be champion. You know, he's got that drive. You know, he's going to pick up whatever a new trainer brings him, especially if he has that confidence in the new trainer.
But you know, though, sometimes coming off all those losses in a row, Steve, it's tough to pick those things up, new trainer or not. But you know, he's picked it up and he's ran with it. He's doing a great job tonight, and it's obvious he's trying to do the things that Billy's telling him to.
Final seconds this round. Good round for Cruz. Backstage, Amir Mansour. He's ready, hoping to bounce back from his first loss in the main event.
Lost that round.
You lost that round.
You lost that round.
You lost almost every round on their card, whether we won or not. You want to win this fight? We got to stop him.
Come on, man.
The only way we're going to stop him, you got to bite that on the mouthpiece, tuck your chin in the chest, and go to war with this dude. You hear me?
Beautiful combinations by Mikhaylenko. Comes in with a nice straight left hand. He caught Ronald Cruz a little flat-footed, trying to walk right in. Mikhaylenko saw it, sees the advantage. Nice shot.
Dmitry Mikhaylenko, his second fight in the U.S. He in the white trunks, 17-0 coming in. Ronald Cruz, 20-4. This is the 9th time that Cruz has fought here in this very arena. His record is 5-3 here. So it's not a lot of home cooking for this guy.
There's not, but you know, the fights he's lost, he's deserved to lose. The fights he's won, he's deserved to win. But you can see why people continually come out to watch Ronald Cruz, because he's exciting, he's entertaining. He gives people their money's worth, and he's always in a fight. He's fighting a guy 16-0. The last fight he had, Errol Spence, the fight before that, Kermit Simchon. I mean, these are real guys who he's fighting, and he always comes to fight, and you got to respect that.
And you heard Billy Briscoe. I don't know if that's reverse psychology or not, telling him he's losing every round.
Yeah, sometimes that motivates a fighter. You know, man, I'm down. I gotta dig deep to get these rounds in the back. I gotta dig deep to get this KO. And you know, Ronald Cruz has that in him.
And Cruz also might be thinking he has lost 4 of his last 7, all those by decision, including 2 in a row.
He's just such a game, tough kid. The question's going to be if he can start to let his hands go. You know, timing, all the good timing in the world isn't going to do anything if you're not letting the punches go. So he's got to let his hands go. Mikhaylenko's outworking him right now. But this is such an interesting fight because round 5, Mikhaylenko, round 6, Ronald Cruz. Now round 7 again, back to Mikhaylenko. These are the types of fights that I could sit here and watch all night.
Jimmy Dioria, his manager in the corner there, they were very excited about Cruz going to Philadelphia more, training with Briscoe, and all due respect to everyone else. You have to go to cities like that and fight against guys like that on a regular basis and sparring in the gym, don't you, Steve?
Yeah,
to get to this level, to fight at this level.
Yeah, you do, because Philly's a hotbed for talent. You know, there's guys in Philly that you never heard of that look like world champions in the gym, but they're, you know, they're sparring, they're there to help you get ready. And Cruz, that was a great decision on Cruz's team.
Mikhaylenko, you see.
Mikhaylenko's having a really strong round 7.
Jab after jab he's been landing throughout this fight.
He started to couple it in with some nice body shots, though, and he sees the momentum in this round. Ronald Cruz, the whole fight has come forward, except for this round. Mikhaylenko starting to push him back, starting to land more shots and dig those body shots in there, and that's Ronald Cruz's game plan. So I think we might see a bit of Ronald Cruz starting to fade here in round 7.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. Mikhaylenko's relentless with his pressure, with his punch output. He's just continuous with punches.
And you see Mikhaylenko push the head of Ronald Cruz down on the inside. Steve Smoker said, hey, get off the neck. But, you know, that's a trick that people use. If you put your head down, I'm going to put my forearm there and make you waste some energy to get back up.
There's that overhand right by Cruz. I mean, that overhand right has been finding his home throughout the fight. But Mikhaylenko's pressure is just seems too much.
Coming up, Fred Cassie getting ready to take on Amir Mansour in the main event.
Mikhaylenko had a great round, let go so many combinations in that last round, and really seized control of this fight, in my opinion. The whole fight, Ronald Cruz coming forward, backing up Mikhaylenko, and then Mikhaylenko flipped the script.
Ronald, you gotta finish strong, brother. You gotta finish strong. You hear me? Yep. You gotta finish strong, brother. You gotta finish strong.
You don't show something this round, they're gonna try to stop it.
They're gonna stop it, dude. They're gonna stop it.
They did a lot of work on the right eye of Cruz between rounds. As again, you heard from his new trainer, Billy Briscoe. He's worried about they might stop it. Go out there and let's make something happen right now.
He's starting to take some real heavy shots now, Kenny.
Yeah, Cruz is in more of a defensive posture now. You know, that's not conducive to the plan that the corner wanted to do.
You know, Steve Smoger's got the reputation for letting people fight. Steve, you know very well in your fight with Amir Mansour, Steve, you know, maybe some referees maybe could have saw it a little differently than Steve, but Steve will let the guys fight. But that right eye of Ronald Cruz really starting to swell shut, and he's taken a lot of punches so far in the beginning of this 8th round.
Yeah, Smoker's an old school guy. You know, he'll let you fight, you know, until you can't move anymore, you know, sometimes. But he is very intelligent, and he knows what he's doing in there. So he's watching these guys very closely.
Has it reached the point where Cruz has to win this fight with a knockout, guys?
I think it's getting pretty close. I think Mikhaylenko's clearly up on the scorecards. Cruz won some of those middle rounds, and it gave us, you know, maybe a possibility of a thought that he could win the decision. But the last couple rounds, Mikhaylenko's regained control, and decision wins looking very unlikely at this moment.
Cruz did have a knockout in the 10th round, a knockout victory on September the 13th right here against Alberto Morales. So over a year ago, he was able to get a last round knockout to come away with the victory. Let's check in with Chris.
Guys, Mikhaylenko's corner asked him to use his left more after that last round. They said when Cruz pushes inside, crouch down and come back up throwing multiple punches.
And you know, I just can't remember the last time I saw a junior middleweight shoot an average of 80 or 90 punches a round. It's unbelievable. I mean, he's really a busy fighter. He's effective. Yes, there's some areas where you can make Mikhaylenko pay, but you better be ready to do it all night, or you better knock him out early, because he's going to make you work and find out what you got in the gas tank.
And a pace that hasn't slowed since the start of this fight.
Yeah, I love it when fighters they show how in shape they are. Mikhaylenko is just throwing punches. He's non-stop. Like I said, it's like they turn the start button on and say, just go out and do what you do.
I don't know if anyone remembers a fighter named Zach Padilla, who's very similar to those kind of guys. I mean, he'd go out and shoot so many punches every single round. And he wasn't necessarily the best fighter out there. He wasn't the strongest fighter out there, but he would test your conditioning, and he went a very, very long ways based on his conditioning alone. Mikhaylenko reminds me of a slightly sharper version of a Zach Padilla, and he's just very impressive.
Mikhaylenko averaging over 100 punches thrown per round.
That's awesome.
Just the conditioning alone to be throwing these kind of punches late in this fight.
Not only the conditioning, Kenny, but the position, the fundamentals, that he's in position to shoot 110 punches around. He's doing a lot of things right, and he's regained control of this fight.
And you have a feeling they're going to take a close look at that right eye of Ronald Cruz between rounds. Steve Smoger is right there. The fine referee taking a look at it as we look in the corner.
Doctor, stop it. No, baby. No, I got to do it, baby. I got to do it.
There's only one more.
No, it's 10 rounds.
What we got?
No, we're going 10, and it's worth it. Your eye's too bad. Okay.
This fight is over.
A great performance by Ronald Cruz. He came to fight, but you saw how disgusted he was. There's only one more round. Let me fight one more round. I know as a fighter what it would be like to be in a situation like that where you feel like you can go out and give it your all in one more round, and to get that taken away from you, it's very hard as a fighter, but I see the situation of his corner. They're looking out for his best interest, and the referee was too, and I think they made the right call, but I got to respect the heart of Ronald Cruz for wanting to come back out and give it one more shot. I love that.
And the trainer, Billy Briscoe, letting him know, no, there'll be more fights down the road. Let's not push this. As you see the swollen eye of Ronald Cruz. And Dmitry Mikhaylenko has come away with his 18th victory as Cruz could not answer the bell. Fight stopped because of that swollen right eye. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, the pressure that Mikhaylenko was putting on him through punches and punches and punches was too much for Cruz. You know, I agree with Billy Briscoe. That shows his intelligence in the ring. There's other fights in the future.
And Steve Smoger giving him that shot. You talked about him being old school, gave him that one more round, but that last round, too many more punches.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
So let's get the official time on this and the official call on Mikhaylenko's victory. Let's go back to Steve.
Ladies and gentlemen, due to the advice of the ringside physician, this bout has been called to a stop due to severely damaged eye. Your winner by TKO at the end of the 8th round, Dmitry Mikhaylenko.
Mikhaylenko winning it for the 7th time by way of knockout, his 18th victory and his 2nd straight here in the U.S. And he did it by averaging over 100 punches per round. And Ronald Cruz, very sportsmanlike, acknowledging the ability of Dmitry Mikhaylenko. There you see the total punches landed. Look at the punches thrown. 669 by Cruz. That's how active everyone was. And the jab and the jab and the jab of Mikhaylenko all night long. And the total power punches again. The Russian 215 to 191, landing on 39%. And Dmitry Mikhaylenko, very impressive here tonight, guys.
Yeah, I liked what he did. He showed an incredible mental toughness, a continual robotic type of fighting style, and he just broke Ronald Cruz down. Battle of attrition. He ended up winning the war, not the battle. Great win for Mikhaylenko.
And Mikhaylenko remaining unbeaten. As you see, he continued to tattoo that right eye of Ronald Cruz, and Cruz, all disappointed he couldn't answer the bell for the 9th round. And Mikhaylenko remains unbeaten. And coming up next, it's the main event. The heavyweights, Amir Mansour taking on Fred Cassie. Combined, they've won 38 times, 25 by way of knockout. The biggest moment for Cassie, the moment to prove Mansour can rebound from his first loss. It's live on Fight Night.